get started today on stage one. I'm going to take you through like stage one. The goal of stage one, there's 4 stages. All right. And I've done this several times now. And actually we just had a 2-day boot camp with all my students and we went over this. And so that kind of gave me the idea of like, let me just go over this one more time. Right. There's get this here. There's 4 stages. Can y'all see this? Say yes, please. And then Kyle's in Chattanooga, I see, and we got some Birmingham, Richard's in Birmingham. So we got a lot of, that's a couple Southeastern there. So yeah, make sure you say hi and introduce yourselves to me in the chat too while I go through this. The 4 stages of self-storage investing. This is kind of fat. Isn't this one kind of fat? Maybe I'm on the biggest one or something. I don't know, it's kind of so small. Oh, maybe I'm kind of like zoomed in. I don't know. Okay, so all right, so 4 stages of investing in self-storage. Okay, so you're gonna like when you have your paper, you're gonna take notes, right? And you kind of just draw a little diagram like this, okay? And that's kind of how it looks. And then so this one right here. Right, so you can draw a diagram. One is your goal. This is finding them and deal analysis. And every single one of these steps has a goal. All right, and your goal for stage 1 is to get it under contract. Right? How is Stacy buying all these things? How does she get all these things under contract? So this is what we're going to talk about today. Okay. But I do want to just give you I just want to tell you what 2, 3, and 4 is so you can fill out your diagram. Right. And I'm a very visual person. So this is why I have a whiteboard, and this is why I'm writing on a whiteboard. So I'm not I can't sit there and do presentations and stuff. I'm a teacher. I got to teach. You guys are in my classroom. All right. You're my students in my classroom. Okay, that's why I paid a ridiculous amount of money for this whiteboard. All right, so stage 2 is going to be funding them. I'm also really not feeling very well because it's this past month, man, it was stressful. I had a lot of stress going on this month, so I got sick. My daughter got sick, and then I got to think I'm getting a little sick, So just excuse that. All right. Finding them and onboarding. Funding them and onboarding them. That's funding them and onboarding them, right? So your goal in stage 1 is to get it under contract. And then in stage 2, it's okay, now I got to find the money, right? How am I going to buy this thing? Right? How am I going to onboard this thing? All right. And the goal is to close the deal, right? This is your goal. Okay. And then onboarding for us, onboarding is the period between which you get it under contract and you close on it. So you don't just twiddle your thumbs for 90 days, you get it ready so that when you close on your facility, you can take payments, right? So this is where you're taking payments, right? Okay, so when you buy a storage facility, and I was talking about this in the boot camp this past weekend, but the good thing about storage is that you're buying real estate, so you're buying an investment, right? You get to deduct this. This is a deduction, right? But the truth is that it's really a business. It's like an investment that's a business, right? And so the goal of the business obviously is to make money, right? So you as a storage facility owner, you want to be able to take payments, right? And so what happened to me on my very first deal? So when I started storage investing, there's nobody out there coaching. There's one person. I did a boot camp, but it wasn't very thorough or anything like that. It's just kind of super high level. And so I had to figure everything out. And so I closed on my facility, and I had come from like I rehabbed like 100 homes, like from 2011 to 2016. And so like, you just closed on the deal, and that's when you like got started, right? Because it was kind of hard to do anything else, get some contractors out there, but that was it. But like in the commercial world, like my very first deal, like I closed, like essentially I got it under contract, and then I was like, okay, now I got to close on this facility. And I already had the money, right? Because I was privately funded. So I didn't really have to search for money. But so I kind of sort of like look for like software, and then like we closed on the facility, and then everybody was like calling, and they were just like, what do I do? How do I take payments? What do I do? And it was like for the first 3 or 4 months of me buying the facility, it was utter chaos because I had not onboarded my facility. I had not done all the steps that needed to get done in order for me to be able to, get my people into a software and get them, the contract signed and for them to take payments. Right. So it was like this whole, I was like one of those people that was like manually taking contracts. And then once we got the software up, I had to go and like, get them to do the contract again. And they were all pissed off about that. How many contracts we have to do? So essentially this onboarding phase is like eliminating that whole process. Okay, hang on, I'm gonna get some water just real quick. My throat's getting a little scratchy. So, okay, good, that's better. Okay. So that's stage 2. The goal is to close the facility. All right, stage 3. This is where it's called, I call it transfer ownership, is what I call it. And right, and this is where you're getting your tenants into your software. Your software is set up, and you're getting your tenants into your software. So the goal is your contracts are signed electronically. Let me put that in there. The goal is your contracts are signed electronically, right? Okay, transfer ownership. And then stage 4 is so now you're like, now you got your contract signed, you get your software set up and stuff. And then stage 4 is like automation and systematizing. Okay. And so the goal for this stage is online marketing for tenants. Okay, online marketing for tenants. Okay, so those are the 4 stages. Okay, now we are going to go over today because I was going to say too, because on stage 4, like you're starting to breathe a little bit, and you're like, okay, let me get in there and really utilize this software. Oh, and by the way, I need tenants. How do I get tenants? Like so you can't just like stick a sign in the ground, anymore, right? Because like if you go online to Google Maps, I mean, how do people find storage? They just go storage near me. So all the ways for you to be able to be on top of that, that's what that is. Okay.